right? Yeah, another Howard Stern. Um, yeah, this one is celebrity guests sharing their ghost. Well, supernatural. I suppose supernatural can really be anything, can't it? Bigfoot, aliens, angels, anything, ghosts. So yeah, but yeah, let's go. Hopefully, I think this is a video as well. Hopefully, I don't have to block it out. But yeah, let's go.
I want you to look at me seriously.
Seriously.
You're telling me there's such a thing as ghosts.
Yeah.
Okay, so you're not afraid to die because you now know there's an afterlife. You've met a ghost.
I'm not afraid to die because it's almost time. You know what I'm saying? Yeah.
Joan, listen to me. You
But-
could have real friends. You don't need imaginary friends. You're on record as saying you lived in a house in, I don't know, Laurel Canyon somewhere, I don't know.
Yeah.
It was a home you bought years ago. You bought it from Carole King,
Well, I
lived
think,
there.
yeah, Carole King lived there, Gypsy Rose Lee.
And you've been in interviews and you've said, you know, I lived in a house that was haunted. Do you really believe in ghosts and that your house was haunted?
I'm going to save most of this till the end, but Laurel Canyon, isn't that where the Mansons were? But I'm going to save it, try and save things to the end because I've found some well good theories of what ghosts are and could be. But yeah, let's see what she's got to say.
I want to know the truth.
Okay, I really didn't believe in ghosts, but that scared me when that many people had seen spirits and stuff in the house, and then just out of the blue, not people, that no one was, the guy wasn't staying in the house. He just rang the doorbell and saw one standing behind me. So that was, but I did
Wait
recently.
a second.
Yeah.
Some guy rang your doorbell.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And you said to the guy, hey, have you heard that this house is haunted?
No, I didn't. The doorbell rang. I went to it. It was a UPS guy or Federal Express, whatever it was. And I answered it, got my package, and he said, do you know this house is haunted? And I go, really? Why? He goes, because there's someone standing behind you. And I thought, oh, shit.
Do I have it right that you then called Carole King, the former owner of the house, and had her come over and held a seance with her to get rid of the ghosts first?
You know what? She came over before that. And I
Right.
didn't really believe, but she's such a cool lady. And I was so in awe of her that we did have a seance. I guess that was what you called it. We held hands, we sat around, and I just wasn't really connected to it. I just kept looking at her like, this is Carole King.
And this was the house where Carole King shot the famous cover to Tapestry, right?
Yeah. She told
That's
me there was a
unbelievable.
really, really bad divorce in the house. And that's when I believed. But I did have a scare in London recently. Like I believed in it now. I now do believe.
What do you mean a scare?
I just gotten there. So yeah, I was a little jet lagged, but I wasn't sleeping. And I was sitting there and I closed my eyes to try to sleep. And all of a sudden I saw these really scary faces, like old faces. And I was like, okay, stop. You got to stop. And all of a sudden I was like, Mom, Dad, Annie M. I don't know, just kept seeing all these weird things. And I saw lights and the plant was moving next to me. And I was like, Johnny, wake up. I'm seeing spirits. And he had all these waves around him too. And he goes, Courtney, you're asleep. I said, no, I just woke you up. How can I be asleep? And he said, well, I'm asleep. There are no ghosts. And I did see them for sure. And the next night I came into the room and I said, look, and I'm going to sound crazy, but I said, thanks for visiting last night. That was fun. Do not come back tonight because I have to sleep. And I didn't see them again. But think about London. It is a plethora of old and dead people.
And you're saying the ghost respected you when you said, listen, it's time for you to leave. The ghost said, okay, I'm
I've been listening to loads of paranormal things, loads of satanic things, but like, someone was saying about like, well, how did he put it? Like not electric, like kind of electrical pulses or like electrical currents. But also like, see, I'm not going to explain this well because I'm like, there's about 30 different things that's going in my head at the minute. But yeah, for her fact of saying about London though, like in terms of energies and bad energies, there's a place, I think it's Gin Alley in London. And if you go back to since the dawn of London, since that was a place, it's like it's been like places for breweries and do you know what I mean? Always kind of an area of London that's always been associated with debauchery, and now it's pretty much a junkie area, like as if that area somehow kind of tainted with kind of yeah. So she might, but anyway, let's keep going.
Yeah.
What's going on with you and all this ghost story? In the sense that this is a very heavy thing for me because as I get up in years, I'm hoping there's some sort of afterlife. I don't think there is, but you give
I'm
me
not
hope.
sure.
You give me hope, Sammy.
There's something going on, Howard. I don't know what it is, but I've been touched in weird ways sometimes in dreams and while I'm awake, and you're thinking it's a dream, and things happen. My father visited me. My manager, when he died, visited me the night they died.
Yeah, but wait a second. It's deeper than that, Sammy. What you're saying is, if I have it right, your father, hard drinking man, tough guy.
Died under a park bench, basically. I mean, in the back of a car, a police car, but they pulled him out from a park bench. You know what I mean?
And the night he dies, there's a knock on your door. You hear a distinct knock. You were sleeping or you were awake?
I got up and answered the door.
Right.
And in my house, right where I was, the person that was with me, my baby was in, I had a little 2-year-old, Aaron was a little 2-year-old boy, and I answered the door, and it was my dad. He was like in his 20s, and he was drunk and going crazy, and he was saying, "Great day for the Irish," and all this stuff, and I said, "Don't ever come like this in front of my baby." Woke him up, and it all happened. It was like a dream. Slammed the door, went and laid back down. God's truth. I mean, you can't make this shit up.
No.
And somebody knocked on the door, and I go, fucker, he's back. I went and opened the door, and it was my next door neighbor who had a telephone that was an emergency number for my sister and my family, because I was living, I was with my band. We were all sleeping in the same house and all that, same room. Anyway, and he goes, "Hey, your sister's on the phone." Ugh. Look, Howard, my fur is up.
You got goosebumps.
Yeah, I do,
Yeah.
all over my body, man. And so I just went, wow, my sister, I knew. I mean, they found Dad. They're 4 o'clock in the morning,
It's unbelievable.
It is unbelievable. And that's happened
Do
to
you
me
ever
twice.
think, since it's happened, do you think maybe you were asleep or you were awake when your father visited you?
I don't know. That's too out there, man.
What was the second time it happened?
Well, my manager, Ed Leffler, who, when I joined Van Halen, when I got thrown out of it, when we were having our hard times, Ed Leffler had died. After that, the band broke up. And Ed Leffler was my manager forever, and then he took over Van Halen. And I was sitting there. We were going through hell with the band, and they had hired this manager guy who they ended up suing and all this stuff. We won't mention names, but long story short, I talked about it in my book. And Ed, I was sitting there. I was laying in bed, and I just didn't know what to do. I didn't want to quit the band, but I knew it was over. We were really at odds. And Ed comes to me, kneels down next to me in my bed. I'm going, fuck, I'm smelling him. He's a cigarette smoker, he had a certain smell about him, And I'm going, damn, Ed, what am I going to do? He said, don't worry about it. It's going to be okay, man. He says, he just came and flat said that and just straightened me right out. I said, fuck it. The next thing I know, I was thrown out of the band, and life was good for me. You know what I mean? Like, so
do you believe in the afterlife?
Yeah. I believe in dimensions. Yeah, I think there's a lot going on right in this room.
Why is everything happening to you and not me? I don't understand. I lay in bed, nothing happened. Nobody visits.
You
nothing.
can have this shit.
Does it scare you when it happens?
He'd like you to have it.
It's scary.
It's scary.
It's scary.
Were you visited by aliens as well?
Yeah, and I had a UFO experience, and that was in 67, 68.
And you weren't high or anything?
No, I didn't do drugs. I didn't even drink back then.
And who visited?
They just randomly picked me, and I woke up while they were doing it. I'm going, what the fuck's going on? My room was white. I mean, I was like, I couldn't see anything. It was a complete whiteout. I lay there, couldn't move. All of a sudden, they said in another language, just telepathy, this is done. He's waking up or whatever. And they yelled a numerical code that was obviously, like your passcode to get into your shit,
Yeah.
And boom, it was almost like a wire. in the air.
And
And I woke up and it was black, and I was shaking and I couldn't move.
And when you when you tell that story,
People
guys
think I'm
like
crazy.
Jason look at you like you're crazy. He's back there making hand signals like cuckoo.
He's jealous.
He's jealous. Aren't you jealous?
I've never heard that story yet.
Well, he's been
last one-
visited. Why
yeah.
him?
I just kept thinking, like, did they like do sexual things?
Did they put a catheter up your penis?
No, there wasn't physical. It was from a distance. They programmed into me. They like, you know, they wireless.
Do you think they programmed that you would one day be the lead singer of a band?
No. I think that opened my mind. It was like a big acid trip, brother.
The scary
Here's the thing, right? Again, I don't. But there's like. There are people that are kind of like. Going. Like Skinwalker Ranch in. Where is it? It's in. Somewhere in America. But is it Idaho? Maybe? Something like that. But anyway, yeah. I actually genuinely believed like this podcaster went there, and because he said they'd done like his podcast had kind of grown to the point where he went and done this thing and went somewhere where like dogmen had been being seen. He's like, and all my subscribers kind of got annoyed because we went to this place for a week, camped out in this place that had sightings of dogmen. He's like, and we didn't see anything all week. And he's like, my subscribers was kind of annoyed. And he's like, and I was a bit like, well, do you know what I mean? I ain't faking it. Like it nothing happened. I didn't promise you. Like, but then he said he went to Skinwalker Ranch, but stayed on the land next to it. Some rich matey who's just into this type of stuff like cryptids and things, and the paranormal bought the land right next to it, like acres, however many acres, right next to Skinwalker Ranch. And this podcaster, I haven't actually watched the documentary. I just saw him talking about it. He was like, as soon as we got there, things started happening, and he said, and if you talk to the natives, because it's a Native American land, he's like, and if you ask the natives, they will tell you that that land was sold. Skinwalker Ranch was sold when there was an agreement, like it belongs to the Native Americans. So there was an agreement that that land wouldn't get sold to anyone who's not Native American, and it was, and the land was cursed by the Native Americans. But also, he said the whole land. He said there's not a burial ground there. There's just scattered. He's like the whole area is a burial ground. There's there's people buried by the stream, middle of the field, up on the hit, like everywhere. He said, and the natives say, he said they're digging for oil, and he said he saw something and he said I watched a documentary about it, and the documentary crew caught the same thing he did. He's like, well, I don't know whether they did it before or after, but the natives say, yeah, it's since the drilling in the ground has caused a spike in the paranormal. But then he talks about like, I think there's more to energy, and I think there's more to human ability. Like, I don't know if it's paranormal or as if like humans can create it in a way, or if you believe, I don't know. But anyway, hold on 2 secs. Yeah, see, this is what I mean. My brain's going about 30 things, and for some reason, just then I shot down the Skinwalker Ranch thing, but that wasn't what, because I do think as well that something where like real negative, like something where something really bad happens, I do think that the air almost gets kind of marked, or that energy kind of can remain, or that thing, like, and I think, but there is a story about that, but also I do think that doing satanic rituals whether it's ghosts or demons that they're, but I do think that type of, especially if they sacrifice someone, do you know what I mean? And it does happen. It does happen, like with especially the British and the American elite, they do that. Not, I'm not saying that everyone, but the elite do. Like they do, 100%. I always thought like it was kind of one of them crazy conspiracies, but I really do believe that they do, and I do think that something can be some type of, you can kind of, yeah, I don't know. I do think like there's more going on, but like that mate he said, and because I went to his kind of story, I was thinking as well. I do think humans have a kind of intuition and a kind of ability. It's like everyone I think has had it, where someone in your family or someone rings your phone and they'll ring your phone all the time and you don't think twice. But then one time they ring the phone, you just think something's happened. Like you just get this feeling that something's happened, and then you answer and they're like this, blah blah blah, like, do you know what I mean? And you're like, as if you can. I don't know. I don't know. I just do think that there's things that we just don't understand. But yeah. Anyway, let's go. Let's carry on.
where you started getting bruises all over your body during the filming?
That was The Conjuring. That movie's awesome.
Okay.
That's
I'm a
great movie.
big Conjuring fan.
That
Yeah.
movie is so fucked up. That movie messed me
Yeah.
up for my whole life.
How do you explain that all of a sudden during the filming of the movie, mysterious bruises
What,
show
she's
up
the
on
little
you?
girl?
All right. Okay. Let's jump into this story because this story, it's so weird. And this is truly like the root of why I'm so scared of that movie. So, in the story, when the mom gets possessed, she gets all these bruises on her. And so during the filming of those particular scenes, I started having a lot of bruises show up on my body in bizarre places, like on my stomach, on my chest. Like, what? And so the makeup ladies thought I was stealing their fake bruises and like playing a joke on them. And I was like, why would I do that? I'm not doing that. That's crazy. They didn't believe me. They tried to take my real bruises off with like rubbing alcohol and oil. And I'm like, I'm telling you, I'm not lying. I went to the doctor. I got a couple blood tests because they told me it looked like it could potentially be early signs of leukemia. I was so freaked out. I mean, by the way, I'm 12. Like, what doctor says that to a 12-year-old? What kind of bedside
Yeah.
manner is that? So I get these blood tests. All of a sudden, I'm told that I have this blood thinning condition called ITP, where basically most of my red platelets drained from my body mysteriously. I'd never had a blood problem in the past. I've never had a blood problem since then. No one in my family has that. So I was at risk of needing a blood transfusion, and they were like scared to even let me work. And because if I like touched something, I could get a bruise there. It was weird. And so I had to go to the hospital every day, twice a day, before and after work to get my blood taken to check my platelets and to try and rebuild my platelets on my own by taking a lot of iron. And they were just creeping up for the duration of the shoot. Shooting finishes, I go home and I still have to keep up with this bullshit. And then when I came home, my platelets were completely fine. Like I was back up to the normal numbers, and I've never since had a trace of that disorder.
So no
ever.
wonder you're freaked out by ghosts.
Are you kidding me? Like I
would
thought
be.
I was just like, you know what? This is it for me. Like I've had a good run. I'm 12 years old. I'm just gonna, get killed by a ghost now. I don't know. We'll see what happens.
That is such a weird story, and no one has an explanation for it.
I feel so freaked out by it. It's like so scary. The other day I looked up a photo of the witch from the movie because that's the real name of the woman. And I felt so scared typing her name into my web browser. I was like, she's watching me. She's going to kill me.
By the way, who is that person behind you? This.
Oh my God. My heart just like jumped
I
in my
was just trying to scare you.
Yeah, and it worked. It really worked.
Do you know what? Yeah, I'm not sure if it's that movie. I think it is. This is something I've found that the elite definitely do child like Moloch. And I need to watch the movies. I'm sure it's the Conjuring film that has Moloch, because she Anyway, I'm not yeah, but basically, I'm guessing, yeah, Moloch is the demon of child sacrifice. And I'm telling you now, like, the elite definitely do it. They definitely do it. Like, the British, and like 100% the British, 100% the American. Right. But I'm sure that that movie touches on that specific demon. And she's a child. It's funny that she's a child and it's the child that has a problem. And it's Moloch, the demon of child sacrifice. Also, another thing, why the symbol of it is an owl. Here's a thing. Because owls torment their prey before they kill it. They like kind of give their prey the feeling of freedom. Like they play with it. And that's why the owl is their symbol. These weird elite thing. But to me, right, when I watch them listen to these things, and I'm 100% convinced that the elite do that. But to me, I just think, well, I don't know if what they're doing is real or not. I know they're doing it, and they think it's real, but whether it is or not. But even if it is or not, do you know what I mean? It's like, why would you pray to that? If that's real, then Jesus is real. And Jesus is going to kick a demon's ass. Do you know what I mean? We know that Jesus is a bad motherfucker and he's going to fuck some demons up. So why would you waste your time praying to the demons when Jesus is going to come back? Do you know what I mean? Anyway, that's if you believe in this sort of thing, I'm saying.
Pink's dad was a bit of a musician,
He was.
played guitar, and you did this with him. You say it brings back good memories because I just have this impression that you were just this miserable kid who
No.
hated.
There was so much beauty. I mean, my dad taught me the language of the trees. He was a poet.
The song that I think moves me most on the album, When I Get There, I just think it is absolutely beautiful.
Thank you.
Very emotional. And it got me thinking about my father who died in the summer. It really resonated.
Oh, sorry, but that playing the songs in the background and talking is giving me headache.
I was around a lot of people, so I was nervous. Yeah, I want to think that he's, that he's my angel. I asked him before he died, I said, what do you want to come back as? And he goes, well,
Your
yeah.
dad.
Yeah, and I wonder if he's sitting with all my buddies. Of the blue. Or if he's sitting with all my buddies.
Yeah.
And if it's a nice thought, right? We want to think there's something beyond this. We desperately want to think that. And that it's not all, that we're not just all little ants meaninglessly walking around doing dumb shit. Yeah, I want to think that he's, that he's my angel. I asked him before he died, I said, what do you want to come back as? And he goes, well, I'm a pilot, honey, so I'd like to be a bird of flight. And then he said, or a cannibal chipmunk. And I was like, we're going to let that be the morphine. And then I went home, and it was during COVID, so I was around a lot of people, so I was nervous to be around my kids, so I quarantined away from them, and I had both doors open where I was staying, and I was doing this sort of tapping meditation thing that I do. And I heard a commotion, and I looked on the dining room table. There was a hawk, and it was staring at me. And I was like, oh, my God, Dad. And he flew out onto the banister and turned around and looked at me and turned his head sideways, and off he went. And every time I walk out of my house, this fucking hawk follows me all the way anywhere I'm going till I get where I'm going, and then he flies away. So I'm a believer.
We listened to this TV show, The Ghost Stories.
Oh, yes.
Where you whip out that story about a ghost living in your apartment.
True.
It's not true.
true.
Listen to me. Why don't you take a camera out and videotape the ghost, and then you would be the biggest thing on television? Why would you not do that if you see a vision of a ghost in your apartment?
Look, I'm getting quiet because I'm thinking, this is not stupid. I am very comforted with her.
Listen to me.
She's still there?
She's there.
I'm
I
going to tell
was
you
at
something.
that place the other day. I was wondering, does the ghost live
I would
here?
have taken you upstairs.
Really?
I love
Joan,
Mrs. Spencer.
you're one of the
Oh, my
smartest
goodness.
people I know. You're a rational person. I want you to look at me seriously.
Seriously.
You're telling me there's such a thing as ghosts.
Yeah.
Okay, so you're not afraid to die because you now know there's an afterlife. You've met a ghost.
I'm not afraid to die because it's almost time. You know what I'm saying? Yeah.
Joan, listen to me. You could have real friends. You don't need imaginary friends. You're still
Yes, I
popular.
do.
You do? Oh, it's so sad. Should I come visit you?
When was the last time you came to my apartment?
I don't want to go
You're one
there.
of many.
That's true. Nobody visits you anymore.
Nobody visits me anymore.
Take me through. I know you've been through this a million times, this TV show. I felt you did it because, listen, it's a TV show. Why not? You go on, you get paid and this and that. I don't believe you believe there is a ghost.
I had it exorcised.
I understand that. You brought in a woman from Haiti.
Right.
No, I brought in my Sally Ann Glassman from New Orleans.
You are kidding me.
No.
How much did you pay her to get rid of your ghost?
Nothing. That's how you know she's good.
Listen to me. You've gone insane.
This was
You've literally gone insane.
This is 14 years ago when
Okay.
I first moved into the apartment.
You came into the apartment. I want to understand everything because I want you to, and I want you to be straight with me.
Yeah,
Because I would love to believe there were ghosts. I'd be thrilled to meet a ghost. You know why? Because that means I'm going to go on. I'm going to have a life.
Yes. And ghosts. I have my friend Tommy Corcoran, who is now in my country house in Connecticut.
Oh, you've got another one.
The guy who died, the gay guy,
Yeah.
who was in bed
Who's
with
my
you.
best friend, who I adored.
He's living in your house.
He's in my house in Connecticut. He's been seen by 4 different people. And I am so
Don't
happy.
you think Joan and her friends are insane?
Well, what are they going to say when Joan says, did you see Tommy? Of course they're going to say
You know what's
yes.
even worse? My luck, I'm going to die and spend eternity in Joan Rivers' apartment. I mean, I'll be like, I can't believe I'm watching
here
Joan
with-
Rivers undressing.
The only thing is you'll hate the music because it's all show tunes.
Oh, my God. That'll be hell.
That'll be hell.
All right, let me understand something. You walk into your apartment.
This was when it was being renovated.
All right. You walked in, and I know you heard noises, and it got
The
cold.
dog wouldn't come in.
Dog wouldn't come in. Whatever. There's all probable explanations.
Yeah.
I want to know right now for my audience. You saw Mrs. Spencer?
I felt Mrs. Spencer. I have
Okay.
never seen Mrs. Spencer.
And what about your friend Tommy Cochran? Have you seen him?
I have not seen, but others have seen him. But he left something that I found. He said, tell Joan there's something that she's looking for, and it's down in the basement.
And who did he tell this
how
to?
did he
Told
get
this,
this
I have
message?
a lady who works for me who's a psychic. And
How much money are they cleaning you out of? Ay vey. What is the matter with you? You're so lonely.
she said,
Go ahead. You need a date. I'm going to hook you up. Don't worry. We're going to help you out.
Let's get him in physical first.
Now I see how serious it
The
is.
spirits get through dinner, Howard.
Yeah. Oh, Joan, this is so
They
sad.
get through dinner.
Tommy Cochran.
Tommy Cochran said,
I had put his ashes
right.
to sprinkle in Connecticut.
Okay.
Way up in my attic.
Go ahead.
And they were left there, and we couldn't find them and couldn't find
You
them.
couldn't find this man's ashes.
Couldn't find the ashes. And ashes, you know.
Yeah, I mean, you knew they were in the attic.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. And he said to this lady, tell her look in the basement. There's something in the basement. And I went down the basement. There were the ashes. And
So
nobody knew what was in them and how they got down. So
how special could this guy have been to you if you lost his ashes? I mean, really.
Well, I put them up there. I don't know how he. But you're
Somebody
always
moved
asking
them.
for something. My mother died, and I was in California, and my mother was in New York, and I said, "Give me a sign. Give me a sign." And I bought my mother a little. A lot of these things happen to me. A little gold fish.
Right.
And I opened my medicine chest in California, and there was the fish on the shelf.
By the way, my friend, you made major news the last time you were here. Did you realize that?
About the alien.
Before I forget about Joan Rivers, I remember watching a stand-up of hers when I was little, like watching Teddy. When you watch Teddy with, do you know what I mean? All the fam when you're little. I remember watching her stand-up, and she did a long story about her husband dying, and then does a joke, and I can't remember any of it. I remember it because I remember thinking it was well good, even as a kid. Like, she'd done a great story. But if anyone knows what I'm talking about, please send that to me, because yeah, it was so good. And all I can remember is that she's talking about her husband who had died. So yeah, if anyone knows, let me send that.
Yeah,
The shapeshifter.
Yeah, you dropped a bombshell. Every paper picked it up.
Let's just say I was with somebody once, and I saw a transformation that I can't explain.
The person transformed into something other than human.
Yes, I saw it.
You were talking to someone. They said to you, "Look, something's going to happen here.
Mhm.
I'm going to morph into something else."
Imagine you're doing something, and suddenly you turn around and there's somebody else standing there.
You still standing by it?
Absolutely, I know it happened. In fact, it happened twice. And on top of that, what's amazing is we live in a world where, I mean, look, I've been in public life on some level for 30 years.
Yep.
People treat it as if I'm
Crazy. Yeah.
And it's like, I'm here to say, like, now maybe I had a hallucination, but I saw what I saw.
Right. You saw it. It's your reality.
That's what I'm saying. So it's like, to question somebody's reality is a strange thing.
The second time you saw a shapeshifter, where were you? Probably at Darcy's house.
It was the same. It was the same person.
Oh, it was.
This happened with the same person twice.
Billy, when will you announce who this person is so I can investigate? Seriously.
I wouldn't name names.
But it's a famous person, right?
I wish it was somebody famous.
Yeah, because then that would be awesome.
Well, think of the book sale.
It was like Justin Bieber.
If you release their name, they will be famous. They're
Yeah.
shapeshifters.
If I told you in private
Go
the
ahead.
story, could you keep my confidence?
Yes.
All right.
Now, here's the good thing about telling me something. Within a minute, I forget because I think everything is nonsense.
I will tell you the story.
You will.
Yeah. And I will say,
Go ahead.
since we're on radio,
Thank you.
that the story is even more fantastical than you think.
Wow.
Can you give us something?
The person was naked.
Wait a second. Were you in bed with the shapeshifter? Were you making
I
love?
will tell you in confidence.
Holy mackerel. Now I'm with you. It was a woman. You made love to her.
Haven't we all experienced this?
Did you? Oh, believe me, I've been with people who shapeshifted, right? But their personalities, they were completely different people before and after. Are you saying it was a lover who actually
I
shapeshifted?
can no longer discuss this.
All right. Should we commit him?
Yeah. See, yeah, I do think that that's kind of my fault, because I've had odd things, but I do, even though I am interested in all this, I also am very logical when it actually comes to it. Like, do you know what I mean? even though I'm willing to kind of, but also I'm very, very kind of skeptical, but also kind of, yeah, I do think there's something. That's what I mean. People experience something, and whether it's kind of, say, like with your parent dying or whatever, almost like are you kind of, do you know what I mean, projecting that as a kind of comfort thing? But yeah, I don't know. It's very interesting, and I do think, because I'm never going to be able to explain this other one, but this mate, he explained the UFO thing and was basically explaining what plasma is. I'm sure he said plasma. See, that's what I mean. I listen to these things and listen to the like, and I have to listen to them over and over again before I actually, because I listen to them and think, oh yeah, that's actually a great idea, and then I try and like I understand it, but then I can't explain it. Do you know what I mean? Um, but I do definitely think there's something, right? And like I say, I'm 100% sure, 100%, no doubt in my mind. Like I say, that because a policeman said he was investigating child abuse, found out that there was some satanic child abuse, started investigating it, started finding out that it went high into the higher ups, and this is in our country, was told. If you basically was, he was, yeah, investigating child abuse and satanic child ritual abuse, and um yeah, he was told by a higher up policeman, if you don't drop this, right, he said, this goes right up to the top, right up to royalty, and if you keep on investigating this, you'll lose your career, your house, and your children. And he pretty much nearly did, just for investigating. And he didn't start out, he's just a policeman, just finding that there was these kind of consistencies with all this, the kind of like low level criminal types, junkies, prostitutes. Do you know what I mean? And then finding that they all have stories of coming from child care homes and being abused, and not only being abused, it being satanic. And everywhere he went, in every department, he was discovering it. Like it just kind of fell into his lap, and he just, as a policeman would, investigating it, and pretty much got his whole career ruined to the point where, this is why I say, I'm not saying every single person who's in the upper class is satanic and does satanic rituals, because even in his case, there was a senior officer to him who didn't really know what was going on, and he was battling with the police, and do you know what I mean? They'd stopped his money, like it's just ridiculous things. He was even getting attacked and things, like. And then some other senior officers saw what was going on with this matey and basically said to him, um, "I'll give you your retirement early." He's like, "What you've gone through is ridiculous." And he's like, "And these people won't stop until you lose everything." And at this point, he's like, "I wasn't able to pay my mortgage because they stopped his money." So he took the retirement and then become a whistleblower. But yeah, yeah, John Wedger, his name is. But that's what I mean. I 100% think that there is something to it. And I also do think that because there was a story, um, basically this like young couple bought this house off this old single woman, bought the house, moved in, and bang in, and ghost stuff started happening. To the, and I'm pretty sure, yeah, I don't know whether they had actually seen anything at that point, but they rung the woman, basically said, like, did you hear these bangs? And what's all this ghost stuff going on? And the old woman was like, oh, I don't know what you're talking about. I've never experienced, oh, like, she lived in that house for years and was like, I've never experienced anything. But she ended up going around there and kind of sitting down with them, and they said they saw a woman basically walk into the front room where there was a big fireplace, a big open fire, and the woman walked up to it, walked to the fire, and just started headbutting the wall, and that's what the banging was that they could hear at night, was this woman banging her head on the fireplace. But one of them had slept downstairs or whatever and had woke up and seen this woman walk in, or this kind of ghost figure. And then the old woman was like, that was me. When like she'd found out her husband was cheating, or they'd got some reason they went through a divorce, and she done that. He kind of, do you know what I mean? I think she must have got divorce papers or something, and she was so emotional and so upset about it that, yeah, she just started banging her head on the fireplace. So this woman who's still alive had such a traumatic experience in the house that it kind of scarred there, and as if it was repeated. It was, do you know what I mean? Such a traumatic energy. I don't know. But yeah, anyway, that's the reaction. Sweet.